Jose Gonzalez, welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
Yes. You got a lot of hats that you wear. So, I mean, Tu Casa Real Estate, city councilor, the leader and the co-founder of the Latino Business Alliance. Introduce yourself, my friend. Thank you for joining us as the second guest on the Salem Business Journal podcast.
No, thank you, Aaron. And actually, I would say job one is father.
Yes.
I mean, really, that's, I think, what guides me. And that's what I prioritize. And then everything else comes after that. And I don't know, everything just fits. And it's luckily, I just feel lucky, Aaron. Let's put it that way. I just feel lucky that I've been able to do as much as I can in the community. I do feel lucky.
Man, I love that you said that, because I was gonna ask you eventually about your kids and your family. So it's cool that comes to the forefront of your mind. So what does your days look like now? You're deeply invested in real estate. You're hugely invested in the Latino Business Alliance, and you've been a city council member. And I don't even know what that looks like. I've had people ask me to run and do stuff my whole life, but I don't know what that actually looks like on a day-to-day, and how much commitment and the hours that you put into those council meetings. What does your days look like now? What has it looked like? I'm interested in learning about you.
You know, I think if someone's asked you, Aaron, just so you know, there's three types of people that run for office. There's the people that search for vanity for themselves. Second type are the people that are single-driven people, single issue.
Sure.
So there's something that got them pissed off, they're mad, and they want to make a difference, but they run out of steam.
Yeah.
Right? The third kind of person is the kind that has to be asked. So let me ask you, who do you think makes the best?
The person that has to be asked.
Yeah. So in case someone's asking you, Aaron, I would say definitely run.
Yeah.
It'll be worth your time. And I would say the time-wise, it's up to you. You know, how you prioritize and what you see as your role as city councilor. For me, I knew this was a volunteer role for the city of Salem. Not a lot of people know the mayor and city council unpaid. You know, so we're merely there as representatives of our community.
Yeah.
As an advisory role to the city manager. And then the city manager is the one that does most of the work. It's his job to manage 1,300 employees. So I understood my role. My role was to be a voice for my community, be as effective as possible, and then let the city do the thing, and then monitor that.
How crazy of a shift was that when you're in real estate every day, you're selling homes, especially probably in the thick of, you just got through a crazy window, and you're probably still managing your real estate business. But how did you transition and still manage a successful real estate business, your alliances with the Latino business? I'm sure that coincides with you being a city councilor as well.
Yeah.
But also, how did you juggle that and being a father, a good father?
Yeah. Sometimes people always say, hey, you built a lot of good bridges. You're a bridge builder. And, I understand that. And I see what people say that. But the way I see it is, to me, I'm just really building a bigger family. I grew up in a big family. There's 6 of us. My parents always kept us together. We did everything together.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of in the middle. I actually have an older brother, older sister, younger brother, younger. I'm lucky. I have it all, and so that's really centered me. And so really all I've ever done after that is just whenever I go somewhere, I'm thinking about building family again, and in this case, before I even decided to run for city council, I made sure my family was okay with it. They were 1,000% supportive. Even I was doubting if I was going to run.
Interesting.
But at the last moment, my wife said, I think you should do it. And that's what set me off, and I went 100 miles per hour after that. Even at Tu Casa and at LBA, awesome people around me. I mean, super effective people. I want to talk a little bit about them. And I'm not doing this alone. I'm not alone at all. People might see me as the face of things, but man, there's some good people behind me and around me.
And I think that's why, and this was kind of, honestly, this set was somewhat thrown together, but I like how it was thrown together because it's very sports influenced. And it takes a team. It takes a village. And most anything that you want to do good in this world, you can't do it alone.
That's right.
You got to have different people that have different beautiful attributes that can help benefit you and that can complement you, and that you guys can complement each other.
That's right.
I can't dunk, but my buddy can dunk. I can't rebound. I can't shoot. I can't, whatever it is, right? I'm a pitcher, but this guy can hit this, whatever it is, fast, slow.
Right.
You need to have complementary pieces everywhere in your life.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
To be effective and to make things happen.
Yeah. No, and that's what allows me, I would say, the ability to keep growing.
Yeah.
Keep helping others at Tu Casa. On average, we have a team that's over 20 years average of experience. I've been there 27, 28 years. And we do have a few newer agents, but the people, those of us that have been there, Antonio Trejo, 22 years, Baltazar Molina, over 20 years, Mario Lopez, 27, 28 years.
Yeah.
You know, and then we have a new generation, Obed, Joan, Cristian,
Yeah.
Monica, all these people that are, man, they're just honest people. And that's really, when you have an honest group of people and you trust each other, you get a lot done.
I want to get to a good point here, and I'm sure something that you really want to talk about. It's the Latino Business Alliance. Why don't you go in and why you care so deeply about that, and how much impact you've already seen and how much more impact could be had in this area?
Yeah. No, so I always dreamed of going to college and getting a degree and going up the corporate ladder. That's sort of what the story I was sold,
Yeah.
And so that was my dream. But, then my son was born when I was going to Shemekia. My son was born and I had to get my butt to work, And so that led me to work at a restaurant. And the reason I worked at a restaurant was because one day we wanted to open up a restaurant for my parents. And several years later we did. And it was difficult. Starting a business is hard. Restaurants extremely difficult. And, my mom got really sick in the restaurant. She had an aneurysm, almost died right in our kitchen. And so that right there set off just a chain reaction of events. And it was really hard for us, and we lost that business. But during that time that we were losing it, I tried to find help. I tried to find resources, and there was really very little, And so then that left me with that void, like, there's just not enough support, And then the Great Recession hit. And people were really hurting, And it was around that time that at our office at Tucasa, we actually said, hey, why don't we go out, since there wasn't a lot of business, let's go out and try to help the community with whatever we can, just volunteering. And we started meeting some good people out there.
Yeah.
And other professionals that were good at what they do, but also were community focused. And we had a meeting amongst all of us. There was a banker, Lucy Escobar, an attorney, Barbara Aguillo. There was another banker, Cindy from MAPS, Baltazar Molina, a realtor with me.
Yeah.
And we just had this awesome conversation. And I'm the one that said, and I always say, be careful when you say this. I said, man, we should make this more formal. And that's what started the Latino Business Alliance. Just professionals trying to help other professionals and small business owners.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I like that you said more formal. You want to create a standard too. You want to make sure that there is credibility and authority within that alliance, right? That doesn't mean that you can't off the cuff call your brother that's in the Latino Business Alliance and be support for him and go to Bible study or ask him how he's doing as a father and all these different things. But at the same time, you guys all got to go to work every day, and you guys all got to link arms to better your communities and to better your brothers in the communities and your cousins and the people that you want to uplift.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing that I've seen. I worked with two loan officers, Noe Baltazar and Nick Reyes.
Oh, yeah.
And those guys worked so hard. You work, I think, 3 times harder just in trying to make the Spanish families understand and Latino families understand the process, because it's hard. Not all of them speak English, and then not all of them. It's harder. The education is so much more needed for these families, because a lot of times you might be, luckily most of these guys speak Spanish and they can communicate very well, but their whole family comes in and they all learn the process, which I think is super effective too. Imagine if we had all family come in and all learn what home buying was like when they're 7 and above, right? That would be extremely powerful, because wow, mom and dad are paying this amount for us to put a roof over our head, and this is how much money they have to put down, and so on and so forth. So they know how much skin is in the game. But it matters a ton, the amount of lives that I've seen changed in the Spanish community, completely not even thinking that they could buy a house. Now they own a house. Yeah. Now they have equity in their house. Now they've bought a second house. Now they've started a business. Yeah. It's beautiful, because I've seen that happen to my own brothers, and they're not Spanish, but the impact is so palpable and so evident that real estate is so vital for families, for communities. You need it, or else you're paying someone else's rent.
Yeah, forever.
You got a landlord.
Yeah, no, I saw growing up, I was the one that was translating for my parents. Well, actually my siblings. Yeah. We all took turns, and as we got old enough. And so I saw the value I saw that need, that niche of, there's, like you said, people are working, they're paying their bills, they have the money, but nobody's ever sharing the information with them. And luckily, whether it was, translating for them at a store, at a doctor's appointment. I mean, I saw the need there. So, but what's funny is when I got into real estate, I didn't think being bilingual was going to help back in the day. I didn't think about it, because I just saw myself as someone that's here, an American with Mexican roots, but I didn't really see myself any different.
Interesting.
But it was just the need kept growing.
That's like the ace in the pocket now, man. Like you're versatile.
I mean, I think it was 2002, 3, 4. Several of us realtors, different offices, we all knew each other. We would get together and just chat, and there was a consensus because we thought there was another realtor that said, Jose, or to the group, in the future, these families aren't going to need us because their kids are going to be bilingual. And we're like, well, yeah, I guess that's true. But my value was never just speaking Spanish because I didn't speak Spanish very well. I was born here. I had to sort of relearn it because I just spoke it at home, but nowhere else. But we thought, maybe she's right. 10, 20 years, there's going to be less need for bilingual services. And so we said, okay, we agree with that. We were all wrong. I mean,
need.
It's more need. I mean, in our office, Joanne, for example, and Obed, well, let's say Joanne, his father bought their first house with us, 25 years ago. And now his son's working for us. So you're right. We have clients that we're helping their grandkids. We're helping them with their business purchases.
Right.
I mean, we've seen it in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the American dream because whether legally or illegally, people are coming over and they need education and they need to understand. And we could get into a whole different topic, but fact of the matter is it's the American dream. Mm-hmm. The American dream is to what? Own a home.
That's right.
And have a job and make better for your make better for your life.
Exactly.
And have a family and have the white picket fence and all those different things. And that might look different for other people, but everyone. So there's always going to be people that want to live here and come here and in all of our communities. So we need to with open arms accept the culture and the communities and help provide. And honestly, I've been to Europe. I've been to other places. The amount of languages that they speak is insane.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful. I wish that I would have been more intentional about learning Spanish or German. I took German. I should have took Spanish. I feel like a dummy for not. But anyways, no, it's vital. It's absolutely vital. So I appreciate all that you're doing, and I'm actually really excited to learn more about how we could help, with the Salem Business Journal in that mission.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the invite, and this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
It's just the beginning. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's dive more into city council. How did that look in your position and just not your time, but what components of that would you like to chat about?
Yeah.
And how that shifts your life and how someone could also get involved or run for city council as well.
Yeah. So I think that's the main thing is how to encourage others to run, because we could talk about the policies and the good and bad, but I'm more curious that the people that are listening, I want to give them sort of the roadmap I took. That way they can start thinking about what their path could look like. And mine started, like you, people had asked me to run. Actually, the first serious person that asked me to run was Mike McLaren, the past Salem Chamber director.
Wow.
And he was the first person that I really took seriously because I didn't think we had much in common. And then I met him and really got to know him. And I had a chance to work with him for a little bit before he passed. So I always thank him and Diane, very, very awesome people. But I kept thinking it was the time. That was my biggest scare. And it's still, I think people, we need to set that aside, because we all are put into positions that later on we realize, man, we did more than we thought, And so I would say anybody that's worried about time, let's just forget about that, because that could be the biggest hurdle. But what happened was through the LBA, the city reached out to us and they wanted to share a plan that they were working on. It was called Salem Vision, the Vision Project. And it was the cities have to account and make plans for the kind of land they're going to need for the next 10, 20 years, right? And so they came to us, they said, hey, we need to share this information. We're going around the community. And this one was, in the next 15 years, Salem would grow by 50,000 people. That was in 2018, 2019. And so that number I couldn't forget it. I'd be driving around town, I'd see a problem, then I'd be like, man, imagine if there was 50,000 more people. That's going to be a disaster. And I just kept thinking about it. Garbage here, intersections, just traffic jam. I just kept thinking about these issues. And what did I found myself complaining, and I don't complain. You know, I'm just not that kind of person. I
Yeah.
never complain. And so I kept catching myself complain. Then I said, you know what, I need to stop complaining and do something about it. And then that's what sort of led me to run for city council. Now, I mean, you can decide all you want, but what are the actual steps, right? And let me tell you, something you're going to have to do real quick is find a team, another team,
Yeah.
find family, find somebody who's going to be there for you. I mean, you got to make that decision quick and figure out who's really going to be there. And I'm going to tell you something that one of my friends told me. You might not want to hear, Aaron.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, after I decided to run, he says, "Hey, Jose," his name is Chuck. He goes, "You know, Jose, I got to tell you something. You know, I didn't want to tell you, but now that you decided to run, I have to." I go, "What is that, Chuck?" He goes, "You're going to find out who your true friends are."
Ooh.
Damn, I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. But I'm like, "No, Chuck, I know who my friends are." He goes, "I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you right now, this business, politics, you're going to find out who your true friends are." And I kept thinking, nope, he's wrong because I know who my friends are. He was right. He was right. Because as soon as I took a step forward, a lot of my people that I thought were my friends took a step back. Yeah, so
That's good. And I think it's crazy just in business and in life, man. The amount of people that come in and come out, someone that you thought was going to be your friend for your lifetime. Things change more quickly than you could imagine, especially when you're in that type of limelight.
right.
There's all sorts of forms of different things. There's jealousy, there's ulterior motives, or someone disagrees with your policy or whatever that is. They're going to make it so personal, and then they're just going to not want to be around you.
No,
and instead of
exactly.
having a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that this world has gotten wrong. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the Salem Business Journal, is because we can be light. We can be light, be love, be positivity. You can come together and collaborate. I feel like I'm a glue guy. In my family, I'm a glue guy. And in the community, I'm a glue guy. So I feel like I can put my arm around a Democrat, my arm around a Republican, and I can say, you guys, we have a lot more in common than we have different.
No, believe me. And so at the same time, some people stepped back, other people stepped up.
Yeah.
And some of those people, I can tell you right now, I know they know they messed up. People think they're involved in politics, and maybe they are. But I always tell people, just wait till you see your name on the sign, and then you'll see the truth. You'll know what it really feels like. And the people that were there for me, man, we're kicking butt moving forward ever since.
Yeah.
And the people that didn't, I've sort of lost. I mean, I don't see them the same. It's really weird because when it's your name on the sign, you go through something emotional. It's different.
Yeah.
Like nobody tells you. It's really you're in your own little world because it's only your name on the sign. And so everything becomes more clear. And so then when you come out of it, it just where you see where all the chips fall, and luckily I knew, actually the question I had for myself was, it wasn't as much of a question. In my mind, I thought, well, no matter what, I'm going to have to count on just my family and my super close friends to win. And luckily that's all it took. Yeah.
And that's good. Sometimes you got to get small. And I think in different transformations and transitions in your life, who do you count on, man? Your brothers.
At the end of the day.
Yep. I know to get spiritual, but that's biblically backed, man. Brothers are born for adversity, is what it says. Yeah. And that's a powerful verse that I keep in my mind. What do you see in the next couple of years for you business-wise? With the Latino Business Alliance, with where you're seeing that trajectory go, with Tu Casa and the development of real estate around town. What excites you? What frightens you? Where do you see just kind of your life being in the next couple of years, and where your focus will be? Yeah, no, I think volunteer-wise, the Latino Business Alliance is still going to be a priority of mine because it's entrepreneurship. It's supporting people that that a job or regular jobs is not an option for them. Mm-hmm. The LBA, what we're excited about is most of what we've done over since we launched in 2010 is locally in Salem. Yeah. But now we're branching out to Woodburn. We're hosting some classes in Independence, and we have a 12-week course in Independence that initially we only had like 3 people signed up. Wow. Right. And it was about 2 weeks out. We're like, dang, something, we need to step it up. Well, good to report that now that class is more than full. Over 30 people signed up for this 12-week course, bilingual class in Independence. We're going to do it in Woodburn. So, and
that prototype of that class was mimicked by another organization in McMinnville. So we're going to start going more in the Willamette Valley.
So to support those the Latino Business Alliance, is it a nonprofit?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys can get grants and stuff from
Yeah.
from the state. Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And you were a co-founder in that,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. And we didn't know nothing about starting a nonprofit. You know?
I bet you didn't.
We didn't know anything.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
wants to start a nonprofit until they
Yeah.
know how many obstacles they have to jump through.
Yeah, yeah, and and we were very scrappy. We had our meetings, we donated space, we had
Good.
pastries that was donated. We highlighted that business, and it was other people on the board.
Yeah.
Without them, forget about it. It wouldn't be around.
Well, that's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you needed people that knew what you didn't know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta team up with people.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay. And with Two Casa, so you've been the president of Two Casa for how long now?
It'll been 19 years as a principal broker. Yeah, but I started there in '97. Yeah.
Wow.
Late '97, and it was all due to a free lunch. It was
A
all
free
due to
lunch.
Free lunch, man. Yeah.
Given a lot of those in my day. I bet that you have too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I started at Century 21. So
Okay.
they had an office in
That was
Salem.
an iconic place. So many people
Yeah.
were there. Yeah.
Yeah. But they kicked me out, you know.
Really?
They kicked me out because I wasn't producing. And nobody tells you that you need to have a sphere of influence. Nobody tells you, at least back in the day. Nobody really taught me or showed me what to do. So I show up, and after a certain while, my stuff is in a box, and they're like, "Give me back the key," office key. So I thought I was out of real estate, but it was.
I like that.
Yeah.
They kicked you out, man, and that
Yeah,
probably
man.
set you on. That probably woke you up a little bit, maybe angered you to get going, huh?
Yeah, two things. It did two things. Yeah, a little upset, but at the same time, I thought I was a failure. But luckily, the real estate license is a couple years. When you get a license, it's valid for a year or two.
Yeah.
And the guy that started Tu Casa, Mario Contreras, he just happened to reach out to me, and he said, and this is where I think you have to be careful, sort of what you do around people. But he said, "Jose, I'm reaching out to you because," and I was already out of real estate. He goes, "I'm reaching out to you because you're bilingual, which is good." He goes, "But two people have told me the same thing. They said, Jose seems like an honest guy." And he goes, it threw him off. Like, why would two people just without me
Say
asking
that.
say that? And so he goes, "So I wanted to reach out to you." And I go, "You know what, Mario? I'm done with real estate." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, I didn't want to tell him that, I just said, it just didn't work out for me. I didn't want to tell him that I was, sort of fired, And that only gave him more incentive to try to meet with me. And this guy must have said no to me like 4 or 5 times. But then he finally says, "Jose, let's just go to lunch. I'll take you to lunch over there to Don Pedro on Lancaster." And that was at that time my favorite place. He didn't know, And then I go, "You know what? Fine, Mario, I'll go meet you." And I thought to
I'll
myself,
go get some free lunch.
I go, "You know what? I'm going to get that free lunch and tell him no." But you know what? After that, he convinced me to give it one more shot. And that
Wow.
was 27, 28 years ago.
Wow.
And when he semi-retired in 2006, I took over. I bought him out.
How things can change,
Yeah.
man. The shift. That's incredible. Well, talk about being a father. I would love to learn from you a little bit. And it feels like you're everywhere. And I'm sure that people would say you're everywhere. How do you manage being a father, a husband, all these different things of raising kids with a busy life?
Yeah. I'll say 2 things. The first thing is I went to a lunch with leaders event when I was considered a young pro at the Salem Chamber.
Yeah.
This would have been like in 2008, 9, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was with legendary lunch with Jerry Frank.
Oh, iconic.
Yeah, and I didn't know him. I had known that he had donated some money, but I didn't know who he was. But I got in on the last lunch. And when we get to his office is when we realize who this guy is, right? I mean, you see pictures of him with like world leaders, and he starts telling his stories. And so we all got nervous. We were so quiet that when we were eating our lunch, he says, "Okay, guys, you guys are too quiet. Everybody's going to have to ask me a question, And I go, "Dang, what am I going to ask Jerry?" Anyways, it gets to my turn. Then I said, "You know what? I do have a question, Jerry." I go, "How do you balance family, community work, and your job? Like, how do you balance those things?" And he says, he goes like this, "Jose, I know why you're asking me that, but you're asking me the wrong question." And I said, "Oh, shoot." He goes, "I know why you're asking, but that's not the right question. And let me tell you, there's something else you need to focus on. Those are all important, and you're going to figure it out. I trust that you're going to figure that part out." But he says, "There's only one thing you should focus on." He goes, "Your health." He goes, "Because without your health, you can't work. Without your health, you can't be there for your family. and let alone go support the community. So I never forgot that. But the other thing I would say, Aaron, is that, I don't know, somehow you're told, go get a good job, go build up a career, make some money, and that's what's going to give you a good family. Like, that's what you're told, go be successful over here. And I go, that's backwards. My job is I make my family, spend time with my family. I'm there for them, whatever they need, as much as I can, focus on them. And that's what makes me good over here, right? So I'm over here. My focus is my family. My focus is just serving them, being there for them. Yeah. Little things, just watching YouTube with my son, just
Sure.
Chatting with my daughter about her homework. Those are the two younger ones. My two older ones, yeah, different conversations. They're having, these are adult conversations.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, that right there is what gives me the energy for everything else.
Yeah. So I like that you said that, because your personal health is what you feed to the world. You're going to be performing whatever you're feeling that you're doing to yourself, whatever you're eating, whatever you're exercising.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're not active, if you're not moving and walking, that's the quickest way to anxiety, depression. So if you're moving and active, then you can be a good father. Yeah. You're quicker to jump and to help and to serve and to do all these different things when you feel good yourself.
Right.
And not enough people really, they look to the doctor to fix them before they really actually audit themselves personally and say, am I drinking enough water? Am I eating enough nourishing food?
Believe me,
go down the list. Am I spiritually, whatever, emotionally, have I gotten through some of these hard relationships? Have I forgave myself or asked forgiveness from someone? Sure. Like, all these different things have weight, they carry weight, and we don't really think about them.
No, believe me, and this isn't advice, medical advice,
Yeah.
But I remember the first time a doctor tried to give me some medicine or some prescriptions, I told him, wait a minute, what are the side effects? He told me, and I said, okay, yeah, I'm not going to take that. And he goes, yeah, but, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you can prescribe it all you want. I'm not going to take it. He wasn't happy. But, years later, go back to the doctor for something else. And he goes, hey, I see you had all this medication that was supposed to be. How'd you stop using it? He goes, how did you wean yourself off of it? I said, I never took it. I just changed a few things in my life. He goes, impressive. He was just I guess not a lot of people do that, like you said, and it's never ending. I mean, really the pursuit of health is never ending. But when I'm thinking about my family, then I want to be the healthiest as possible for them. And as long as that's my focus, then everything else.
And you set a standard, you set a standard for your kids, and I think you also set a standard with your partner. You set a standard for your brothers, your parents. You can help change, be a catalyst of change, just like you can in the community. Mm-hmm. It kind of starts with your family. Yeah.
Believe me, try being almost a vegetarian in a Mexican family. Man, they laughed at me. But now my family,
you still got cheese in there? There's no way that
Our gatherings are called carne asada, and they're actually called meat. That's what our gatherings are called. Yeah. We'll get a carne asada, and so it was really hard.
So that's how you got perfect skin still, huh?
That's what,
got it?
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but no, and it's never ending, and it's more of a challenge for myself, And then I don't force that on my kids, but they themselves, I've been really happy to see how they've grown.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Well, anything else that you want to cover before we wrap this up? Is there any other angles or areas that you want to touch on before we call this an evening?
If anything, Aaron, is just letting the people know that I'm here. Yeah. I'm local. I'm available. I don't care who you are. If you just want to chat, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to expect anything back. And I'm always going to have some time for sharing what I've learned. That's sort of maybe where I'm at now is, okay, I've experienced and learned a lot. I need to give back.
I think that's beautiful. And I think that we don't have enough, and not that he's saying, come, he'll be your mentor, but, and to the right person, I'm sure, but people can take pieces of mentorship from pillars of the community. And this guy's been deeply invested and knows how to get involved. And I think that's a really cool, powerful thing of knowing who to call, knowing it's like you're kind of the mayor of a specific community, right? You know exactly where to direct them for what is on their heart, what their desire is, and how they want to get involved, which is beautiful. So I think that you guys should take him up on a coffee or a lunch or something. Maybe get that lunch, and then you'll own a two casa
that's right.
in 20 years
You
or
get a free
something.
That's true. I won't blame them.
Two free lunches based off this podcast. No more than that. Well, thank you so much, Jose,
my pleasure,
and
man.
thank you for all you've done and continue to do. And we're a huge supporter of you and big cheerleader. So can't wait to see you. We'll have you on again here soon, I'm sure.
Anytime, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man.